quite surprised. Tell me about it.
Well, this book actually came out of an experience I had about 5 years ago. I hosted a self-esteem conference at the Harare Children's Home. So after talking to the young ladies there, the concept of this book came out, and I talk about coming out of self-limiting attitudes because I realized that so many times we are our own limitation. We are the ones that set barriers to what we can achieve in life and what we can be in the future. So I wrote this book so I could encourage people, particularly women, to achieve their true north and not to limit themselves.
And I'm just thinking, Carol, that we are saying this book is a book written by for women who have got to rise out of many limitations. Is this about you? Is this about the girl that you see next? Who is this book exactly about? Do you know the book about?
Yes, well, this book is geared to, I would say, women all over the world. Whatever profession you're in, whatever your background is in, what I have noticed is that there are things like low self-esteem, inadequacy, inferiority that every woman has to address in their life at some point. So this book is for every woman, right from the little girl to the woman in the corporate sector. It can touch any woman.
I went just on chapter one of that book, and the way you say, I grew up in a home where my parents affirmed me consistently. Quite an interesting introduction there. And then you bring in the issue of the woman with a low self-esteem. What exactly are you speaking into? You're bringing two contrasting scenarios here.
Mhm. Okay, so I grew up in a what could be considered a good home. I had parents that affirmed me. It was quite a solid home. But then, where I talk about the low self-esteem that I personally went through, I talk about children at school, other people in society that saw things or limitations that I had and started speaking into that. So I talk about how the world out there is not always as pleasant as maybe the home you grew in. Some people are unfortunate to have a home where they are not properly affirmed, and then that allows low self-esteem to enter. So it seems like it's contrasting, but no, I actually went through quite a lot of low self-esteem issues because of people out there in the world.
And and then you go into this long list that you put in your page 16 of that book where you talk about the dangers of low self-esteem. The dangers of low self-esteem. Just tell me about them a bit, and your experiences also, especially when you point that you have dealt mainly, you've spoken mainly to young